different. You know, we see unemployment rates are very high. There are people staying 4 or 5 years out of college, and life has to go on, and they don't have a job. So yes, the landscape has changed, and so we must do a juggling act, you know, so that we don't get caught between our children and preparing for our retirement. So we must be able to do this juggling act so that we get things going right. So the goal is not to stop helping, but we want to shift from being their lifeline to just being their safety net.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be their lifeline. We want to teach them them to swim. You know, we don't want to keep throwing floaters to them.
Exactly.
No, you know, you can keep throwing floaters. Yeah, they can't drown because you've thrown a floater, but they don't know how to swim. So we want them to know how to swim. And I know there are obviously major dangers, and that's where I want to start. If you don't structure this area, there's a lot of dangers, and some of them, you know, when you financially supporting your elder children, we can say there are some financial dangers, there are some psychological dangers, there are relational dangers, and there are generational dangers. So we will talk about the financial one, the psychological one, the relational one, and the generations, so that you can actually be able to see that as a parent, you need to wake up and take care of this situation. You need to be able to look at it very well. Let's look at the financial dangers. We like calling it the retirement time bomb. You know, if you bankrupt your golden years, this is danger number one. You know, as a parent, you know, you're dipping into your SACCO shares, you're taking your dividends from the chama, you're selling a piece of land just to bail out your children. You know, by the time you're 70, you have zero savings.
Yeah.
Just think ahead. Isn't that a time bomb?
It
That's
is.
a serious time bomb. There are also some medical emergency here. You know, this sandwich generation, as you're aging, there are always health issues, you know, whether it starts with eyesight, or you can't hear properly, blood pressure becomes an issue, diabetes might be an issue, arthritis. These things are common. You know, if you give all cash to your children, so you're not able to afford SHA, or you do not have private medical insurance, you're not able to pay for your prescription drugs, you know, you will obviously end up being a burden to those children you're helping.
Yeah.
So now they are burdening you, shortly you'll be budgeting them. Of course, the other financial danger is destroying your assets. You know, you're using your title deed as collateral for them so that you can take a business loan for them. That's extremely dangerous, because if their business fails, and you know, the statistics don't look good in this country. 80% of SMEs, they fail within the first year.
Yeah.
You know, if you give your title deed as collateral, there's a risk of losing your home. Can you imagine losing a home at this age when you don't even have the energy to start somewhere else? And bank does not care about family drama. No. You charge the home. Yes, that's what they will sell. You charge your piece of land. That's what they don't have issues around family drama. They will auction your land. They will auction your home. Those are what we call the financial dangers that we should be able to look at. That you're depleting your savings, you're not getting ready for medical, and you're actually risking your assets. So that's one danger that we need to be able to know. The second set is what we call the psychological dangers. You know, and these have something to do with the mindset. You might be creating a permanent adolescence. Now, adolescents were those people who were 12, 13, 14. That's where they are, isn't it? When a 30-year-old knows that mom and dad will cover their rent if they overspend, so they're calling you for rent, they will never develop the muscle to delay gratification.
Yeah.
So as long as they have cash, they will use it, because somebody else is going to come and bail me out. In fact, what you have is that you have somebody who has remained 18-year-old, but they have a bigger body. And they never learn the anxiety of end month. You know, there's something called the anxiety of end month. You know, end month comes and, you know, I have to pay this, I have to pay this, I have to pay this. They never learn that anxiety because you're absorbing the anxiety for them.
Yeah.
So what adult are they going to be? That's why they're becoming permanent adolescents. They are 30, but they have a mindset of 18. And that's very, very dangerous. And that's why you see time is there for school, but they don't have the school fees. And they have the audacity to call you, they tell you they don't have the school fees. But what lifestyle are they living? at your cost. Now, of course, the other big psychological danger is the erosion of the work ethic.
Yeah.
If you pay for their lifestyle, why would they take a humble job? You are paying. Why would they want to drive a boda boda or work in a supermarket? They are waiting for you to get a big job, a government job, a parastatal job. Your money allows them to hold out a prestige. They can only take a prestige job. So anytime you look for them a job, that doesn't look like me. So they don't grow that muscle of knowing. This thing we like saying, you must have the grit. Sometimes we call it hustle. You must be hardened. That hardening will not happen. And they will not have the ethics. And that's why they will remain unemployed for very many years. And that becomes a trap because now they are unemployed, life is going on, they get a family, they don't have a job. You find yourself obligated to assist them. You have to move them from your house. You go and rent a house. If you rent a house for them and they don't have money, you have to consistently paying the house and feeding them. So that's serious erosion of work ethic. You want somebody who can get grid. They will take whatever little there is and build it from there. So that becomes very, very important. The other psychological danger is fueling entitlement. Over time, your help stops being viewed as a gift and it becomes a right.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a gift, it's a right. They don't say asante. Now they say, where is the money for this? Where is the money for that? So you're giving them money for food, but they're saying, okay, rent is due. So it stopped being support. You're not supporting them. They have right. And this breeds very deep resentment on your side. You're feeling bad yourself. Yes, you're always feeling very bad. Because can you imagine giving to people who are not grateful?
Yeah.
You're going to have... So that feeling of entitlement becomes a problem. So those are what we call the psychological dangers. You can see it's a pile of things. Now, the other area is what you call the relational dangers. This destroys the bond. You're shifting from being a parent to actually a debt collector. Yeah. So when you lend the money, that money is not repaid.
Yes.
It creates a very powerful imbalance. So every time you have a family gathering, it's a very awkward, meeting.
Exactly.
Because you're silently angry and you're avoiding each other.
Yes.
So the relationship is going to lose its warmth and it is going to become very transactional. You don't want to have a transactional relationship with your children because now you lend them money, they are not paying. When you have a family meeting, you're looking at each other in a manner like it to suggest there's something the other people are wondering why you're avoiding each other. The other relational danger is destroying sibling unity.
Yeah.
And this is very common in Kenya. If you help child A who is struggling, but refuse to help child B who is employed but very wasteful, now the one who you're not helping because they are wasteful, they will accuse you of favoritism. Kwa nini unasaidia huyu na mimi nikikuja unisaidii? Si ulimpatia hiyo 50,000 aliuliza. But the reason why you're not helping this one is because they are wasteful. The other one is really in need. This one is wasteful. If you help both equally A and B, and one is wasteful, then what are you doing? You're feeding a bad habit. So financial help is actually the number one or sibling rivalry in adulthood. That you feel your parents favor this one or they don't favor you. So when they had a problem, they were helped. You, when you had a problem, you were not helped. So that becomes a problem. The other very dangerous relationship challenge is interference in marriages. When you give money to your married son, his wife is going to see you as controlling.
Yeah.
And this is an area now we need to be careful because you don't want to cause imbalance. When you give money to your married daughter, her husband is going to feel disabled. Yeah, when she wants money, she calls daddy or she calls mommy. So the husband looks like an object in the house. Can you see the conflict that we are getting there? So you sort of become a third party in the marriage. And marriage doesn't have space for third parties. It is two people affair. So anybody else coming along is going to be the cause of fights, is going to be the cause of blaming each other, that conflict doesn't help a lot, doesn't help your children in any way, because you will cause fights between them. They start saying whose parents are better than whose parents, and whose parents are more generous. And that creates a lot of conflict that becomes a problem. And that problem now moves to the fourth danger, the generational danger.
Yeah.
And this is what we call the ripple effect. This is where we are breaking the wealth cycle. So instead of saving money to buy land or build some rental houses that will generate income for generations, you're spending your capital on day-to-day expenses.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for their fuel, you're paying for their rent, you're paying for their shopping. So you actually, instead of building wealth, we are consuming the family wealth. And so what do? We expose ourselves in the future. So we are consuming the family's future wealth today. And that's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
The other generational danger tied to that, and that's why the ripple effect, or we are modeling bad behavior. Your grandchildren are watching. They actually get to see easily. Yeah, they see their parents are constantly getting bailed out.
Yeah.
Shosh will come, books will come. They will learn that debt is not a serious thing. No. There are older people who are ATMs. When you are hard up in debt, just call them. Exactly. They will come and bail you out. So you're helping them to raise another generation that's dependent.
Yeah.
And what has become? It's become the cycle. What have we been told? We need to leave an inheritance to our children's children.
Yeah.
So what's the inheritance you've left to these ones? Dependency. So they'll find it very, very easy to become dependent. So we are modeling very bad behavior. And this unfortunately gets us into what we call the sandwich trap. The sandwich trap, you're funding your children, and you might neglect your own parents if they are there. They are grandparents. Because between rent and just supporting a person who is older in the village, rent is very pressing.
Yeah.
Because it has to be paid. And in our culture, whichever way we say, we have a duty for the elderly. You cannot ignore your old folks just to support your children. So you're giving all your money to the children, and you're not taking care of your aging parents. So you get sandwiched there, and you start feeling guilty around yourself. So those are serious dangers that we should be able to look at. And then obviously we have what we call the slippery slope danger, the escalation. The requests surprisingly don't get any smaller.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Year one, they're asking for fare to go for an interview. That looks normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an interview in Mombasa. They can't just go by bus, so they need to go by SGR. And third class is not good. You will show up in the interview in bad shape. So we pay first class.
First class.
They might need to go the day before so that they can refresh and sleep and look well. So they will need to stay in a standard hotel. Because you are paying, that's the formula. If you are not paying, they would hit the bus.
Exactly.
They would find a night bus. They will be there in the morning and take the interview. The second year, they ask for rent. Now, you see, bus was kidogo, now rent is a bit more.
Yes.
By the third year, they are looking to buy a car, and they don't have the deposit. So they are asking for the deposit.
Yes.
So you can actually see now rent was what, 20, 30? Now you see the car deposit has come to 100.
Yeah.
By the fourth year, they have the audacity to tell you, now we want to buy a house. We want you to help us with the deposit. Now this is about 1 million shillings. You see, it is growing like that. And that's why it is important that we set boundary. The amount of money they will need will always keep increasing too much. Whatever they have, you never reach the point where they say, that's enough, mom. You keep your money. No. As long as they think you have the money, they will keep looking for more and more and more. So we have seen, I wanted to start with that side where we can actually see the dangers, so that now it becomes easier for us to see why are we bothered about this. Because now we have seen that there are financial dangers, and we have looked at them. We said they are bankrupting your golden years. I think we are clear. They are not helping you to prepare for medical emergencies, while they are destroying your assets. So because if you're mortgaging your land, that's a problem. We talked about the psychological dangers, that you're creating a permanent adolescence, And as you do that, we are eroding the work ethics. We get people who are not working. and we are fueling the entitlement. We're fueling entitlement. Those are serious dangers that we are looking at. We have looked at the relational dangers. So you stop becoming a parent, you become a debt collector, and your relationship stops being very, very warm. You destroy, your sibling rivalry becomes a problem, so there's always sibling rivalry. And there's a risk of interfering with their marriages, so those are relational. When we're looking at the generation, we say, yes, you're breaking the wealth cycle, you're consuming now what should be building wealth for days to come.
Yeah.
And we are modeling bad behavior. The grandchildren are watching. And we say this is where we get caught in the sandwich trap. You're not taking care of your parents because you're taking care of your children. And the last danger we said is escalation. The requests keep growing more and more and more and more, and you never get to a point where you'll be able to sort it out. So if you think about it, before we give that money, we need to ask, if I give this and I get sick next month, who will pay my hospital bill? That's a serious question.
Yeah.
If you cannot answer that question confidently, don't give the money. Don't destroy where you're standing to build them.
Yeah.
Because when you crash, they will not come for you. Protect yourself first. A parent who is financially healthy is the greatest gift a child can have.
Yeah.
When your parent is financially healthy, that's a big gift to the child because they don't have to depend on you. And that gives you your time and resources to take care of your children and to take care of yourself. So that becomes a very, very important area that we can be able to do. And that is why, as we look at this discussion, and I know our listener will get involved as we go on, we need to understand how to avoid this trap. And we've seen the dangers. We have identified the dangers out there. But why do we do it? Why do we get ourselves into this trap? And the idea is they are what we call the psychological triggers. And these psychological triggers, sometimes they make us as parents to overhelp. Help is not the problem. Overhelping is the problem. And the first trigger is something we call the guilt factor. Many parents feel guilty for working too hard or for the struggle their children are facing today. You see your children facing struggle and you feel guilty. You wonder, did I not do everything I should have done for them? I sent them to school. Should I have sent them to another school? Yeah, I sent them to the university. Yeah. Maybe, should I have sent them overseas? You start feeling guilty. And when you feel guilty, you buy things to ease your guilt.
Yeah.
And the things you're buying to ease your guilt, you give them what they're asking for. And that's how the risk of overhelping comes in, because you have guilt. Now, of course, the other psychological trigger is something we call a Mataya complex. You think love is measured by sacrifice.
Yeah.
And you're saying, when you say no, you're feeling like I'm saying I don't love you. So you're in that space where you're feeling like love is measured in sacrifices. So when you say no, you have a second thought. Will they feel like I don't love them because I said no? And so you sort of become a martyr. You're sacrificing, and sometimes you're sacrificing beyond your cause.
Yeah.
The other psychological trigger is what we call the saving trap, where you can actually see very many parents depleting their savings to fund their children. You pick your money in the circle, you take a loan for them, you take your contributions to from the chama, and you're funding their lifestyle. You're not funding progress, you're funding lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because they have a salary, but they are not stretching it up to meet all the expectations because they are living in the now. And that is very, very dangerous. So that's why we need to ask ourselves, when they are looking for help, is this a need or is this a want? If they want a new car, then they need to save for the new car. If they need medical help, yes, that you consider. They have an insurance, they've exhausted the limit, or this issue is excluded from the limit, that's what they are looking for help. So this is how we'll be able to deal with that. So let's see sort of a framework of dealing with these things, so that we can be able to balance out. We said we do not want to keep throwing them the floater.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to swim. So the first thing is we need to have what we call a open book conversation. Open book conversation is about financial transparency So we stop hiding your financial situation to them. They are adults. They can understand your budget.
Yeah.
When you don't just tell them you don't have, they need to understand, yes, I'm getting a pension, okay? But these are the things I am paying. So after I pay all these things, this is what I'm left with. So it's not I'm refusing to give you. And in turn, you can see their budget. How are they doing? Yes, you are earning your 120,000. Why is it that you don't have the school fees? What are you not doing right? And this is where financial education becomes important, because here you need to be able to train them as you're having this conversation. So that you show them your income versus your expenses, and you also ask them to show you the same. You explain you have to pay for your own health. I mean, you can't stop paying SHA. You can't stop paying your medical insurance. You cannot stop paying the insurance of your car. You cannot stop paying Kenya Power, so that they can actually be able to see the things that you're doing. If you tell them, if I can't afford to give you the cash now, but I can help you create a budget so that you don't run out of money on the 20th. And this is what I'm saying about you now helping them to understand. This is a budgeting process that we go through. Yes, this is your income. This is what I'm doing. But I also want to see what you're doing. Even if they are a couple, let them come and sit. Yeah. Both of them, not one of them, both of them. Yes, you can help them, but you must be able to see that you're not feeding their consumption. You're not getting to a place where they don't delay their gratification. They were telling you how the Bashi in Mombasa, is it called high tide or what is it called?
Summertide.
Summertide. Then they're telling you they have no school fees. No. There must be, you must get them to see the consequences. There's something called tough love. Upendo wa kweli ni kusema hapana wakati inafaa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to make it in Swahili so that it gets very easy. True love is saying no when it is appropriate. And you're not feeling guilty even when you have said no. And that is why, so the first point is open the discussion. Let's be open about the money. The second thing is conditional support.
Yeah.
In Latin they say what? Quid pro quo. It is conditional support.
Yeah.
Money should never be free. It must come with accountability. Yes, it must come with accountability. If you pay their rent and they ask for money for rent, please insist to see the receipt. Yes. You ask for rent, yes, let me see the receipt. If you help to set business, they must provide the business plan before you give the money. So what's the plan? Okay. And a lot of people don't like that because the money was maybe not for that.
Yeah.
That was the excuse. And so this helps you. Remember we said we are open, we have discussed. Now we have said, yes, we need to be there. I'm investing in your future. I'm not funding your lifestyle. That's what you're saying, that I'm investing in your future. I'm not funding your lifestyle. Now that becomes very, very important for us. So you have conditional support of them. And you're going to see if there was no responsibility, the responsibility is going to start coming in.
Yeah.
The third thing in the framework, differentiate the children. They are unique individuals. Treat them unique.
Yeah.
The one who is employed and wasteful doesn't need the same help as the one who is struggling, but is disciplined. There's this guy who just left college recently. Yes, he's very disciplined, but, things are out of touch. Or there's this one who has had a misfortune. Yeah. But there's the other one who is sherehe after sherehe.
Yeah.
Now, you must be able to deal everybody where they are. Don't be afraid to help one more than the other if they have a legitimate concern, because fairness is not always equality. You're not here to equal it. It's not like if you give 100,000 or if you support one with a deposit to buy a property, you must support all of them. No, we're saying treat them as different things. Then we have the other step is, yes, you must say no. There must be boundaries. You as parents, you must learn to say no effectively without ruining the relationship. You must have something, we call it the bank is closed policy.
Yeah.
Let them know when you have your financial help stops. Okay. So this one you said, I'll help you with rent until December, but in January you're on your own.
Yeah.
You came to me, you have this issue, maybe you lost your job, whatever. I'll help you with rent, but you have a date. You see, on that date, the bank is closed. You know the way the bank is closed. Hata ukipata watchman anafunga.
There's nothing you can
There's
do.
nothing you can do. So there must be so we must be very clear if it's continuing help, how far is it learning? Because it cannot be forevermore. And then please, my fellow parents, we're not talking about the ones in school and the ones in college.
Exactly.
No, that one, not those ones. We're looking at the ones who are past school.
Yes.
You know, they've already, that's what we're saying, adult. They've already started earning. The ones in their first phase of life, childhood, those ones you can't tell them, I'll give you school fees for 4 years.
Yeah.
What do they do for the balance of the time? Not those ones. The other alternative, by the way, is something called sweat equity. And this is very important. So instead of cash, we offer them what we call an alternative, the sweat equity. We will help them to write a CV, and if they're having some money, we can get them to join a chama, or help them to join the circle. You know, mentor them to join the circle. And if they want to start a business, they want to instead of giving them money, you'd rather than give them help them to start the business. Put it in there as capital. You know, you're helping them there. They're putting in the sweat equity, so they will come and run the small business in there. It could be an online business, but we said ask for the business plan. Don't just listen, ask for the business plan. And if you want to see whether the business plan is working, go on the net and look for something called a business model canvas. That business model canvas shows you the 9 questions you need to ask them. If they can answer those 9 questions, biashara iko. If they are not answering, let them look for the answer. If you just finance business and they have no plan, literally what they are trying to do is to manipulate. They are trying to look for another way to get the money without being accountable. And that is not going to be helpful. And you must be ready to deal with the silent treatment. Yes, the children will get angry.
Yes.
When you say no, they'll get angry. But you explain the boundaries are not rejection. This is respect. It is respectful to allow them to depend on you forever. That is, you're not respecting them. You're not respecting yourself. So you must be able to, yes, deal with that silent treatment, whatever they do. Okay. And then, you know, we all say it's a red flag. If your child refuses to discuss their salary, their budget, that's a red flag. Don't give money to somebody who is hiding finances from you. No. You know, yes, you must have empathy. We know it is hard, but we must all have a plan. Yes. Tunajua ni ngumu, lakini lazima mtu awe na mpango. Yes. You're saying, wapi mpango? What is your mpango? As you do that, protect your future. It is very, very important. Protect your future. We are retiring. That sandwich generation, you're retiring. That's why the children are adult. That means you're older than them, isn't it? You cannot get a loan to retire. I don't know anybody, any bank. I've had you have financial people here. I've never had somebody come here and say, okay, we have loans for retirees. I've never had that you can actually borrow from us and retire. You cannot borrow to eat when you're 75. It is not possible. So that's why I'm saying protect your future. Don't give people the seed that you actually need when you get there. You know, by supporting them today, pushing your retirement to later. Where is that later? And the time is not there. If you cannot manage if they cannot manage their money now, why do you think they will support you in retirement? That's going to become a problem. So you must prioritize the things that are important. You know, you're paying your share. You're paying health insurance. If you're in the circle, you're keeping your chama or your circle intact, you know. You ensure your title deeds are safe. They are not being used as collateral. Because when they are used as collateral, you're as good as losing them. Okay? You know, you must be clear that I can't give you what I don't have. It is very, very, very simple. And in Kiswahili says, they say what? Siwezi kuwapa kitu ambacho mimi mwenyewe sina.
Exactly.
Yes. So this whole business, and we said last time, parents tend to borrow to give. Yes. That's a big mistake. You know, you're going to your circle, you're taking a loan to give it to them. Then they're not going to pay the loan. So you're borrowing to give, and that's not a big thing. So that becomes a very, very important area. And you know, as I was having this discussion, I just remembered a few questions, and there might be questions on that side. And this person said, my son is married and his wife works, but they still ask me for money. What should I do? I think we have answered that question. Speak to both. Yes. That open discussion we talked about. Okay? To speak to both of them as a unit. You're supporting the unit, not your son. If you're supporting your son alone, you're going to cause conflict. Because maybe you're feeding his drinking habit. and the wife is struggling with that. Now you're fueling it because you did not get the whole information. If they were seated there, you would actually see where the problem is and help them with that. And we always say, remember, you're the older person, so you still have a responsibility to cancel this. Another person said, I have a child who's looking for a job. How long should I support? And we said, yes, give them a timeline. I'll support you for 6 weeks, 6 months, or whatever. After that, you must take a job, even if it's a boda or a supermarket job. Because if you don't do that, they're still waiting for the job.
Yeah.
And everything else comes, that's below me. Yeah. Now, there are times we have to know there's nothing below. You know, I remember a couple of years back when Obama was president, and the daughter was working, I think, in a McDonald's shop. And to support the child, they came to the shop floor.
He visited the daughter.
Yes, we must help them to go to the ground, right on the ground. And then for those of us who are slightly older, we must remember President Kenyatta had a small pickup ya kununua mananasi na kupeleka kwa soko when he was a younger man.
Look at that.
It's not that family wealth was not there.
Yeah.
It was still there. But the lessons people learn. Yes. The lessons people learn. So we cannot keep waiting for the final, for the dream job. No, we have to learn. We have to help them to do the things that need to be there. So, you know, parents, your greatest gift to your children is not money. It is independence.
Yeah.
That's the greatest gift. If you want to be a cushion, you know, you must be a cushion, not a clutch. You know, help them to stand on their own 2 feet so that when you are gone, they can actually survive.
Yeah.
You know, we're not a bank, we are a family. I know it might be sounding very bad, but that's the truth, you know. Yeah. You must look at the numbers because, like they say, hesabu haidanganyi.
Yes.
You know, numbers don't lie. Kama iko. Kama hakuna.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yes, and that's why I invite people to come to financial literacy programs, because when you reach it, in fact, these lessons should have started long before they became adults. Things like budgeting, saving, living within means, they should have come long ago. And I know we are just about to come to an end. There might be a question or two, but I think that's the good discussion we had. Thank you, our listener, for inviting us to discuss this subject.
Yeah, and for sure, Mr. Wahome, you've responded to actually all the questions here using these points that you've just highlighted. For example, this one says, a very helpful discussion there. My question is, how do you know when helping your adult child financially is actually helping them, and when you are simply making them dependent on you? Next time, Mr. Wahome, also focus on helping a struggling spouse.
Okay, that's a different subject. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
A good one. Thank you.
Yeah. But I think for the child now we are very clear how the support comes.
Good. Yeah. Also, Kevin there, a very insightful discussion. If my adult child is struggling financially, but I'm also trying to prepare for my retirement, how do I balance supporting them without putting my own financial future at risk? You've also.
I think we've discussed that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Thank you.
You can't give what you don't have, and if you don't take care of yourself, they will never take care of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't destroy where you are standing. That's exactly what you said. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Wahome.
Thank you very much. I think for our listener, yes, we have lessons tonight. If you want to join us tonight, if you want to join us on the open day, I said it's 25th of August, we have an open program. If you want to join the Wealth Creation Masterclass, we start a new intake in September. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the discussion. And I think it's an enjoyable discussion.
Yeah.
We're in a better place so that we can actually do what we need to do.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wahome. My dear listener, make an appointment to join today's class by simply sending the text to 0708-150-137. That is how you can get in touch and for guidance. And also, the wallet words is there waiting for you. You can also be given directions how to order for that beautiful book as well. So it is exactly at the top of the hour. We're going to be taking a very short break for news. I'll be back with the final hour. Don't go too far.